Yes, it is good to be back in Rome, to spend the last years of my life. My days are numbered and I am very tired. I feel much older than my years. My 10 years in Judea did me no favours, but it seemed like a life sentence at the time. I hated the dry heat, the smells, the people. Their faith in their God seemed unshakable. I tried to force them to accept our religion, but their belief was so strong, they defied me. They rebelled against us when my men carried effigies of our emperor through their land. It's a time I look back on with regret and a feeling of failure. When I wrote to Tiberius, I told him how I had been seized with fear and trembling because of my part in what happened to the man they called Jesus of Nazareth. My wife tried to warn me. She wrote a letter to me to tell me of her dreams. "I'm begging of you, have nothing to do with that innocent man," she said. I did not listen. What a fool I was. What an arrogant and foolish man. Those priests were like flies, buzzing incessantly. They were relentless with their complaints and demands. Every Passover was the same. The place was always packed with thousands of visitors crammed into the streets. More visitors meant more criminals, thieving, rioting, even killing. The noise and crush of humanity was unbearable. And I had to be there to be seen to rule. I just wanted to leave Jerusalem and their Passover and return to my home in Caesarea. Then, that fateful year when he came, how I wished that he had stayed away and I had not had to take part in that hateful charade. I recall that the complaints began in earnest when he caused a riot in their temple. He overturned the stalls, upset the cages of birds, and scattered the moneylenders' coins. They say he took a whip and drove them out, ranting that it was his father's house. Well, it did him no favours with those pestilent priests. I'd heard about the so-called miracles that he performed, and later spoke to men who swore that what they witnessed was true. Even a centurion came forward with tales of how this Jesus had healed his servant. These amazing feats that I wrote about to Caesar. When the priests brought him to stand before me, I looked at this man, this Messiah. He did not look like a troublemaker. He looked resigned. He did not tremble before me like they normally did. He didn't beg for mercy. He just looked me straight in the eyes, and I felt as though he could see deep into my very soul. I could not look him in the eye, so I turned away. That was the moment when I got the note from my wife. I read it, of course. I read it through several times before casting it aside. She was a great one for her dreams, my wife. Had I listened then, perhaps I would not be having the dreams I have now. See his face, full of sadness and pity. For me, how dared he? I called for water and publicly washed my hands of the whole affair. It was what the priests wanted, not I. I wanted peace and quiet. I had him beaten so he could barely stand, thinking that might be enough for them, but no, not them. They wanted more. They bayed for his blood. They worked the crowd and probably bribed them. I knew what they were doing. Crucify him, they demanded. Free Barabbas. So I did. I washed my hands and took the easy way out. Let his blood be on their hands. The problem is, his blood is on my hands, and no amount of washing will cleanse me of it. This man, this innocent man I had killed, I could find no guilt in him, yet I had him hung on a scaffold with other common criminals. And I let a murderer go free. I, Pontius Pilate, who should have known better. But I just wanted it finished. They were happy. Sanhedrin, they got the results they wanted. Although they were not so thrilled with the notice I hung over him. I allowed him that. The King of the Jews. They demanded that I changed it. The insolence of them. I refused, of course. What I have written, I shouted at them. They were furious. I'm glad I did that at least, yes. Yes, I'm glad I did that. Do I regret what I did? With hindsight, yes, I do. But I had a reputation to uphold. I was at that time a stern disciplinarian who ruled with a rod of iron. I had to. I was governor. I was Pontius Pilate. When I heard he had died, quietly, with dignity, some of my men said, my desire to rule died too. Anyway, here I am, back in Rome, waiting for them to decide how I should end my days. Caligula is not like Tiberius. He is cruel and vindictive. I do not expect any reward will be coming my way. I wonder what the history books will say of me.